I just cannot focus on leadership only. There are similarities and differences. Since I'm a pastor, of course I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, and I have my doctoral dissertation on leadership. That was a focus on Korean churches in Southern California. So my leadership, the development was molded in Korean church, in Christian community. Welcome, come in, have a seat. But just bear with me. I will talk about the essence of a leadership and which that you can apply in your life. If you're a father of one child, then you're a leader. If you're a mother of 2 children, you're a leader. And you're your mother or father to be, then you're a leader already. If you're married, either wife or husband, be the leader, or both teamwork, team leadership. You're working together, moving forward to make a better living. So you cannot say, "Well, I'm not a leader," but some way you have elements of a leadership in you. Somewhat you are a leader here and there. Maybe you're a leader at home. It could be dominating your family. You just press down your husband, or you're a leader of your dog and cat that you're raising at home. You're raising something else. So you are all leaders, whether you recognize or not, whether you agree or not. You're all leaders in some sense. So that way we're gonna talk about what leadership is all about. Okay, I want you to turn to, if you have a syllabus notebook, I want you to turn to page 3. There's a course syllabus and title, and there's a content for this semester. Let's go to page 2 first. Page 2. Course title is Christian Leadership or Christian Discipleship, but focus on leadership. Course description is the historical development and biblical principles of management theory and leadership styles are examined. Attention is given to personal and spiritual development as a leader, development of future leaders, handling normal hindrances to leadership in ministry, vision casting and strategic planning, setting goals, budgeting, and overseeing the church organizations. As I mentioned, that this is designed for church leadership, but you can apply in your daily living. What are the objectives of this course? Number 1, you will be able to understand the nature of biblical leadership and its application to Christian ministry or your Christian living or your family members. Number 2, you are to grow in your understanding of yourself, maybe your personal traits and gifts and strengths and weaknesses, and how these affect your calling to ministry and to the dynamics of ministry. 3, to learn how to build and create an effective philosophy of ministry, to learn basic principles of the conflict management and how to deal with difficult people in your church or your community, your ministry. And number 5, you are to better understand vision, mission, and organizational dynamics and how to better administrate the church or ministry or community or as an organization where you belong. Okay, page 3. These are the contents. Okay, we are going to talk about, we only have about 50 minutes, less than 50 minutes. How we are going to define a leadership. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I don't intend to cover every detail on every single page. try to just show and describe something on screen so you can compare with this. Basically, I gave outlines of my notes, and my notes are about 340 pages, but I just cover a little bit. It's only a limited time. The class was designed for 17 weeks, so I shortened to 10 weeks, and I just cover just maybe 1/3 of it, or just try to cover as much as you can while we discuss in the class. Okay, let's see. Lesson 1, leadership defined. If you don't have a book, just you can look at the screen. And there are general leadership and spiritual leadership. And there must be a theory for that. You know, when I went to Korea, or when I went to Japan or China, I saw the advertisement. It says, master leadership in 6 months. And I was going, what the heck is that? How are you going to master the leadership in 6 months? And learning English is a big thing in Korea. How about China? Does everybody wants to learn English? China? Taiwan? Hong Kong? Hong Kong speaks English. So everybody, since the English is a universal language, of course Chinese is also pretty much used by 1.3 million people, or maybe more than that, 1.5 million people. So every 4th person speaks Chinese. Maybe that's why I studied Chinese. So many people are speaking Chinese. So 1.5 billion people are speaking Chinese. And when I went to China, also I saw the sign that says, master English in 6 months. And when I look at the sign, and something came into my mind. I said, is it possible? Let me ask you, since you guys are here, how many of you are here more than 6 months in the United States? 6 months, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Have you mastered the language, English here? Doesn't work that way. But I don't know why they advertise like that. It sounds like, if you come to this class, if you take the course, leadership course, you can be a leader in 6 months, a great leader like a Xi Jinping. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But some people are bought by it, and they register for the course and take the courses. And the consequence is it? Nothing much. You cannot master leadership. It's a lifelong process. Maybe we can ask you, the fathers, when did you become father?
Last year?
Last year? Okay. If your child is born, your father, you become a father. But living as a father is a tougher thing. Being a father is a simple thing. You just have your own baby. But living as a father is a tough thing. As you said, too much money for too many kids. You have to make a double income or quadruple or 10 times more to have children. Why? Because you're a father. You want to provide best education, best clothing, best environment. So your children can live better life than you had in your life or current situation. Correct? That's what you want. That's your father. Becoming father is a simple thing. But living as a father is a tough thing. Being a mother is a simple thing. It's not, it's for ladies. It's not easy, of course. You have to bear so many hours of pain. My wife had a 38 hours of suffering for her first baby, and she had to go to surgery, and my baby was premature. The first one was premature born, and she had to be incubated for 6 weeks. It was a tough thing. But as soon as the baby is born, she became a mother. But living as a mother is tough. Being a leader is a simple thing. You become a leader of the class, or you're a leader of your company. You make a good sale. You become a supervisor. You become a leader. But maintaining leadership and giving influencing people is a tough thing. Then my question is, why do we need her? Why do we need the leaders? One man, the biblical character is Moses, who led 6 million Hebrew Jew slaves from Egypt. They've been a slave for 400 years. They were born as a slave, they died as a slave, their parents were slaves, their great-great-great-parents were slaves, so they're slaves. Their reality is to be a slave and die as a slave. But Moses was chosen by God, and God gave him a vision to lead 6 million slaves out of Egypt. Without Moses, they die as a slave. The leader is so important. Without leader, it'll be chaos. Leader motivate people. Majority of people are not self-motivated. How many of you were self-motivated when you were a teenager? You used to study because you love to study. No, I don't think so. I raised 3 children. They're in college. They're out of college, and I had to. I don't yell at them much, but I have to tell them, "Did you finish your homework today? Are you going to go to school today? Did you get a good grades? Did you turn your homework in? What did your teacher say?" I have to constantly ask my children and motivate them. Or sometimes I use bait. If you get A's this semester, and I get you something. When my kids were little, I said, "I'll buy a Nintendo game, or a new game, or a new toy." When my son was a little, I said, "I can get a big plastic knife. You can just play with it." For my daughters, I can get you a Barbie doll or something else. Cabbage doll, small ones. That'll motivate them to study. So leader motivate people to move forward. Without leader, they want to just sit down and relax. How many of you are motivated to study and finish this class well? Just kick back, relax. But my job is to motivate you guys to get something out of this class. And use achievement of goal and productivity. Set the goal and purpose and drive them. Encourage them. Security and sense of direction. Where, how, when, how much. What is the trend? How many of you know Forever 21 clothing store, retail store? Forever 21. Not many people know. That's the third largest retail store in the United States. The business started back in '84, and they have 850 stores all over the world. And recently, about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they shut down all the stores in China. And they supposed to open the store in Shanghai, but they didn't open the store because the rent was so high, because they're not opening the small store with a 10,000 square feet. That's a large store. And they did not open in Shanghai. They missed the target. Near city, but the people who are living in the city were not rich as people in Shanghai. And they missed the target, and they shut down the stores. And completely shut down. Their net is about $700 million or something. A lot of money. Lots of employees. And they are going to file Chapter 11. The company will be gone soon. It's happening. May Company or JCPenney, offline stores are closing and shutting down. Why? Amazon, Google, or those companies. My son doesn't go to a retail store. All he does is click it and get it. They'll bring anything. Companies survive. And his net worth is $700 million. He received a great the bonus from the company. And his leadership made the company upside down. So the company that was was pushed down from Samsung or Hitachi, Sony, they were losing everything. General Electric was the number one when I came to States in 1978. They made a refrigerator, dishwasher, everything. But for a few years, they settled back, they kicked back, they're not doing anything, they're not spending money on R&D, development, or just research and development. They didn't use any money for that. And they just maintained the level, and they were pushed down from other companies. They hired one person, and company was revitalized. Nelson. There's a Nelson is sitting at the back, but this is not Nelson Chen, but Nelson Mandela. Who knows Nelson Mandela? Yes? Yes? He was the first black Afro president in Africa, in South Africa. He was in prison for 25 years, but after he was released, he did not revenge. He reconciled with the leaders who dictate them and use them as slaves. And he brought the peace and unity in South America. And he's a true leader. And everybody said he's a great leader. Winston Churchill, when England was facing about defeat, and he displayed his leadership and brought the unity in Europe in fighting against Germany, which led him to victory over German soldiers. He was the father of the land. Moses, as I said, he just led 6 million slaves out of Egypt. And he became father of faith. Acronyms for leaders, you can see what are the leaders. Some people and leaders just made, what are the leaders? And you can see the leader, oops, sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Right? So one thing the Americans, they come up with like 4H, 4 C's. Do you know what 4 C's for diamond? What are the 4 C's for diamond? Do you like diamond? Yeah, all the ladies, yeah, they love the gem, the size, color, the cut, clarity. And what is the last one? Carat, how big it is. Yeah. So they make it like that. That's the acronym. And they made a leadership for acronym. Number one is learn to lead by examples. You don't want to follow the leaders who spit on the floor all the time. You don't want to call that person leader. And someone who stay in the, you don't want to follow a leader who just cuts in the corner, cut corners, cutting in the line. So you don't want that. Examples or energy. You don't want to follow any lazy person. Analytical, appreciative, an expert. You want to follow someone who is expert on something. The other person, Helen said, L for listening. Listening is important. Who is the best communicator? Best communicator is the one who listens most of the time. So if you begin to speak all the time, people lose interest and he's going to lose a lot of friends. Someone who doesn't listen and talk and talk and talk and talk, even though you say shut up, stop, continue to talk, and you're not going to be his friends. So good leader is listen. Make you talk, make you speak. That's the good leaders. Okay, what are the differences between manager and leader? Manager is a leader. The supervisor is a leader. What's the difference? What is the focus on manager? Money. How to make money. Budgeting. How to increase the budget by next year. If budget is not increasing, let's say you made a sale maybe $150 last week. If you're not making better next month, you can get fired. My son is working as a salesperson, and he makes a sale per day. Otherwise, they'll just drive him as a slave drive. They're going to drive. They're going to cost all the workers to make the sale. You got to do it. You got to make money. That's what managers do. They're focusing on money, budget, and set time. By Friday, I want you to make this sale. I want you to do this. Make it clean. Follow orders. But leadership is a little different. Leadership is not on money. Leadership is on vision. And leadership focuses on people. If your people are not educated, if your people are not motivated, if people are not, deeply rooted to do something right and do something better, they're not going to work well. So if your environment is nice, when I visited Google in Seattle, environment is fantastic. New employees' salary start from $100,000 a year. And they can dress whatever they like to. One of my students just got employed by Amazon and Google. They come to work with the short sandals, and they provide great lunch. The environment is great. He's getting paid $15,000 per month. But funny thing is, rent is so high. If you make $150,000 in LA, you can save some money and you can buy a small house in a few years. But their rent is $7,000 for 1 minute. Nice area, small area. Two bedroom condo becomes $1.2 million. You just can't make a living. And his friend bought a truck and just change it to small bedroom like that, and park in the parking lot. He stays there and save money. He wants to get out of Seattle in 10 years. His goal is to make $1 million and just buy and go somewhere. So their focus is, when I asked them, what's the difference between this company and other companies, he said, they're focusing on people. So people are self-motivated to work. And the environment is created for them. So wonderful. They're setting examples and motivates a creative environment, change, constant change for them. Whenever they complain about small things, they change for them. So they can work better, productivity increases, double, triple, quadruple every year. So, are you a manager? Are you going to manage your family? Or are you going to lead your family? That's the difference. If your father manages your family, children will hear many words. Well, maybe single word. No, don't. Shut up. Stupid. Idiot. Do better. Get A's. Funny for Asians, we often say, let's say your children or your son or daughter had an A on the exam. Then what would you? What's your first impression? Good job. No, I don't think the Asian mothers will say, was the exam easy? Or they say, how many students have A in your class? If everybody has A, then mother say, everybody has A. You didn't do your best. What more you can do better? You have an A. We're just dragging our children, pressing them too much to the burnout. Because they manage their family. And I counsel with many youngsters in 20s and 30s and even 40s. They graduated medical school. Their first salary they received like $270,000. Within 2 years, we'll go up to $500,000. But they come to me and we have a counseling meeting. They say, I don't want to be a doctor. I always want to be a piano player. I want to be a musician. I want to be an actor. And quit the job. That breaks the heart of mother. But what is happiness for? What is happiness for your children's life? Because they follow their hearts and they do whatever they like. Is making money is the best thing? I don't think so. I grew up in a poor family. That's why we immigrated to United States back in 1978. We brought $350 back in 1978. Six of them in family. Mother, father, my 3 other brothers, 6 of us. We're poor as church mouse. Everybody has to work. I work at the gas station. I did cleaning at night, building cleaning, everything. But making money was a big thing. My mom asked me to become a doctor, medical doctor. And my mom just pointed all of us, my elder brother, myself, the 2 younger brothers. My mom said, you become medical doctor, you become lawyer, you become businessman, you become something. We said, Mom, I don't want to be a doctor. I hate biology. I hate blood. I can't even cut the frog. And I just faint. I just don't like the smell of blood. But I love reading books. I love literature. I love writing. I love poems. I've been reading so many books. My mom said, read books for medical school. I can't. I hate chemistry. I hate physics. I hate chemistry. Anything like that related to medical school. What my happiness is not become a doctor. I never regret. I don't regret that I didn't become a doctor. I'm happy for what I'm doing. I love teaching. And my mom said, how much you make? That's not the matter. It doesn't matter how much I make. I'm happy. If you're a parent, if father to be, or your father already, or mother, just release them. Don't be a tiger mother, like a Chinese mom or Korean mom, Japanese when they drive their kids. You're living your dream through their lives. I hope you're not doing that. I said it, I'm done. My parents had their lives. I know they had a tough time raising us, but that doesn't mean I have to live according to their reputation. I live according to my vision. Okay? So being a manager for your family will drive your kids nuts. Okay, their focus is manager focus on things and money, control, efficiency, and doing things right. The important thing is leadership focus on people and doing things the right thing. That's a big difference. Doing things right or doing the right thing. And how fast you're going to make money, how fast you're going to finish. Speed is not important. Direction is important. You're running fast in different direction. And that's a chaos. You're going to lose it. Your life is not about the matter, but the speed and direction is important. In practice or principle. Okay, leader versus boss. The boss says, go and do it. And leader says, let's do it. Let's go. Do it together. The boss doesn't have to do anything. All you do is do this, go there. No, shut up, out. You're fired. That's what Mr. Trump is doing. You're out. You're dead. That's not good. That's not good. So, boss drives the people and coaches. Coaching your children, coaching your students is a good thing. You don't say, I do what I want. I know everything. I have know-how. You just listen to me. That's bad. That's badly. That's the boss. You're going to say, let us do it together. We are going to do it. We're going to overcome it. But you're not going to lead your children with the know-how. We often say, when you become older, you talk about the olden things. You say, when I was 20, when I was 50. When I was 20, when people were 50 or 60, they said, when I was 20, I said, heck no, I don't want to listen. That happened, whatever happened is happened. We're living in different ages. But I am saying the same thing. I tell my children, when I was 20, when I was 30, but I have to stop. And my son had the same expression. So what? You lived in the 80s, we're living in 21st centuries. Things are different. My son doesn't want to buy a car. He has to use an Uber or Lyft or something, electric bike. He said, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay insurance. I don't want to pay gas. I don't want to look for a parking space. And he said it's much easier and faster. I said, get out. I'm not sure. I'm not a mother kangaroo. You're living in my pocket. You're going to pay something. But when he's independent, he's going to do whatever he wants. Are we commanding or are we asking things to the right? We often, as a father and mother, we say, do this. Or are we saying, can you do this for would you do it for yourself, for your sake? Asking or commanding? What is not leadership? If you have a power, are you a leader? If you have a power, are you a leader? There are many dictators, tyrants, murderers, evils are leaders for themselves. See, any familiar, any friend? Stalin, he killed 25 million people in Russia, and Mao killed more than 10 million people, and Hitler killed 6 billion Jews, and Pol Pot from Phnom Penh, and he killed 2.5 million people out of 6 million. And we don't call them leaders. We call them dictators. They had a great power. Power doesn't make you a leader. Hussein, Saddam Hussein, or Gaddafi, or Putin, or someone, Kim. Fat Kim. I don't want to say what. Sometimes we say fat pig. His father and grandfather killed so many people. They made chaos in Korea. But there's two lived in India. Lady's Mother Teresa. She's from Romania. She helped the people who were dying, hospice. She worked in Calcutta, the poorest area. I visited a long time ago once, but I just couldn't bear smell. She's working there. She's not saying do this or do that. She's not saying anything, but everybody is volunteering. So many nuns and fathers and priests and even Christians serve there. And you see hundreds of people are dying in every 3 months. Because the people are dying when they come in. How about Gandhi? He didn't use any violence. But he caused India to independence. They didn't have a power, they didn't have a military, they didn't have guns. They become great leader. Position doesn't make you leader. Your CEO, president, or general, they're obligated. They have to listen. Maybe they listen and work for money and benefit, or they have to listen, otherwise they'll put it into prison. You don't have to know everything to become a leader. You don't have to know about biology to become a leader. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be pro in every area. Danger of leaders, without leadership, you lose a direction. You don't know where to go. There's endless conflict. There's endless talk. You're losing direction. It's stagnant, it's not moving, you're staying. And eventually you get a burnout. This definition of general leadership, I'm not talking about the biblical leadership is, dictionary, the leadership is a position or function of a leader. The period during which a person occupies the position of a leader. The ability to lead. I think that's number 3 is the most thing is ability to lead. That's a leader. Definition of leadership is leadership is a behavior of an individual when he is directing the activities of a group toward a shared goal. The goal is set, and it will be taught by everyone. Leadership is a process, which I like the better. Leadership is a process whereby an individual influences a group or individuals to achieve a common goal. Something, I've been living here for 42 years, but, my mother country is Korea. And if I ask the Koreans, What is the common goal for Koreans? Unification. You want to share the same wealth and freedom of speech, freedom of travel with the North Koreans who are suffering. They've been suffering for 70 years. Everybody has a common goal, and the leader must strive to achieve the common goal. Components of a leadership, you can check your the booklet, and I just want to cover this one. Then let's go. The generalization of a leadership. Why do we need a leadership now these days more than ever before? And people are saying, we need a leader. If you go to Korea or if you go to China, they say, do we have a leader? Maybe. Is a Trump leader? For Caucasians, yay! For Asians, maybe not. He's just white leader or just white Saxon. Why do you need a leader? Number one, it says, too fast changing era. Everything's moving. When cell phone came out, when handphone came out, things were, it was overwhelming. We used to use a phone, putting 25 cents, hello, dial phone, you're waiting in line. And you don't even have a phone at home. All you need is this, that's all. Flipping phone, nobody wants to use a flipping phone. Now it's a folding phone. And Samsung and China, they're making folding phone. And which will cost about $2,000, and people still want to use it. And once I use it, when I got the phone family plan, I got the phone, and every year my son wants to get a new phone. I said, if a phone works, you can talk to the person on the other side, perfectly fine. And my son said, no, this is not a phone. This is your life. And he gets a new phone, and I get his phone. Things are different. When I was in college, the computer 286 came out. We're not using typewriters. We don't have to just erase it and white out, and you don't have to do it. But 286, 386, 486, Pentium, things are changing fast. Need to be flexible to fast change. What is a trend? Why is restaurants are not working? Why the restaurants are doing deliveries? Why are they putting their stores on the online? Why are they downsizing the packages? Because there are so many singles are using. When family was a member of like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, my mom had 10 sisters. My father had 7 sisters and 3 brothers. Big families when their father's age. We had 4 brothers. First one died, so we had 5 brothers. My friends always like 5 or 6 or 7, 8. Now you have only 1, 2. You have to think about it. You have to be flexible. Okay, give me 2 more minutes. Number 2, gap, place and cultural gap is achievement. Thank you. Okay. Warm and cold, they are different. If you're living in a warm area, Southeast areas, the relationship is important. Not task oriented, people oriented. When I went to Indonesia, we met a chief of the village. He said, let's meet tomorrow. So we went there at 10 o'clock. in the morning and waited until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he came at 4. He said, hey, I came. And I waited 6 hours. And if I leave without meeting him, that's rude. I said, who's rude? He waited, he was late for 6 hours. But if you go to Russia, things are different. You have to come on time. California and New York are different. The last one is difference in field. Company and church are different. Some are for money, some are for reward, some are for promotion. If you're living for NGO, church, voluntary with a vision, the things are different. Okay.